I won't take it personally. If you're wondering what's going on, should have tuned in last week. Friends, my very, very good friends, wherever you are this morning, sitting here in our sanctuary or worshiping with us at home, the struggles that so many of us face when we decide to commit ourselves to acts of goodness and justice in this world are these creeping questions. Questions like, does it matter? Does this make a difference? Does this make a meaningful difference in a world that is hurting so acutely? Does this actually address the issue at the base? If you have felt your motivation or your zeal or your dedication to justice work waver under the weight of big questions like this, well, congratulations, in a way. Congratulations, truly, because if you find yourself stressed under the weight of those questions, to me, that means that you get it. You get it. You understand the nature or part of the nature of working for the common good. Its simultaneous rarity and its precious necessity. Its beautiful fragility and its defying strength. You understand that working for true justice is a calling outside of conventional society that is embattled on all sides, while the need is so profound. Profound in ways that one can only fully comprehend from 30,000 feet looking down. You feel these things, you know these things, you see these things, and yet you still feel it. The urge, the call, the still speaking voice inside. Do something. Do something. Anything about it. And then the weight of those questions again. I have felt my spiritual knees buckle under the pressure of those questions and have decided not to act before. Have decided not to participate, not to let myself feel something. Decided not to get in and get dirty and get down to work because I couldn't imagine the impact it was having. I couldn't see the result at the end. Stop me when I name something that is relatable here. Because it is a common experience, I think. A common experience for all people who have tuned their eyes to see injustice in the world, tuned their eyes to see need in the world, because once you do that, you realize that it is everywhere. You see it, you know something must be done, and that is a heavy, heavy weight to carry. And this is where I think that we Protestant folks still have something very valuable to learn from our Catholic and Orthodox siblings in the practice of faithful acts. Because not feeling it, not feeling engaged or set on fire in any moment, that is precisely the moment to step up and do it and go through with it, even if it just feels like motions for a moment. Because dedicated involvement in the absence of passion is the moment where our faith becomes baked into our flesh and bone and stands any chance to become physical and tangible in this world. It's the only moment when it has the opportunity to become us. Because if we were to wait and only act when we were really feeling it, when we were clicked in and set on fire and impassioned, when we had the map in hand and we saw the finish line down there, well, one, we would end up acting a heck of a lot less. And two, we would end up placing our own personal experience and our personal satisfaction in being a part of that work ahead of the work itself. We end up placing how we feel about justice work ahead of doing justice work, the purpose of it and the spirit of it. And while a common mindset, it misses the point that ultimately working for the common good is an invitation outside of yourself, outside of your mind, outside of your ego, to think about the world larger than yourself, your individual lived experience, and contribute to something bigger than you and your neighbor and your neighbor's neighbor and your neighbor's neighbor combined. To take a break from the anxious toiling of every minute of every day and to throw yourself heart first into Christ's work, into goodness, capital G goodness, where none of us have to do or be anything more than simply hopeful and open and willing to work. Because though what you contribute might feel like a drop, only a drop in the palm of your hand, when you let it go, it immediately joins with the entire body of the waters of justice flowing down the mountainside, completely unstoppable. And when, in faith, we follow justice work, we end up not only spiritually outside of ourselves, but temporally outside of ourselves as well. It isn't merely for the common good across the town or across the state or the country or the world, because it is work that we do into the future as well. We send into the future, into places and lives that we do not share this moment or will share any moment with. And we know that this is true because we are the inheritors of such good work. Such good work of faithful others, the faithful unknown of the past, who, without a map in hand, without the horizon in sight, without us, a speck standing on it, still chose to act, still chose to participate, to give, and to support. We say that all of this, all that you see and experience of the church around you does not exist without your support, and that is true, but it is also true that it would not exist without the thousands of people all the way back to 1868 who sat where you sit now, who worship as you worship now, who similarly made a choice to dive in, to give, to support, to be a part of what is happening here. And they all did it without a vision of you or me in their minds, without a thought of an iPhone or of a sound system or of cameras or you folks worshiping at home right now, without any of that, without knowing about the 154th Manger Sunday upcoming. They still chose to do it because it was the right decision in that moment. And I find it so very apt that this morning, in the midst of all of this, we recall our Hancock saints and honor them here. Surely there were lives and deep friendships and deep love that flowered again in your hearts as a certain name was spoken this morning. Memories flooding back, joy-filled, light-filled, a moment of yes, them. And there were certainly names that you did not recognize. Names that flowed into your mind and then out again, but whose lives were just as full, just as wide, just as deep and meaningful and rich as your own, or as the name that is still ringing in your ear, still just as precious. That the blessing of working for goodness in big or small ways, of joining with others here and now, and then and to be with strangers and friends and family, it makes this bridge across time and space, heart to heart, life to life, generation linked to unnumbered generation, and not by chains, but by a golden cord that each of us in our own time will take in our own hand, making room for all of those who will come behind us, who will sit where you sit, who will worship as you worship, for as long as this is held dear by those of us now. Amen. Friends, as we sing our last hymn together, friends or family who are here remembering someone from our memorial garden, I invite you in the and the last stanza to follow Reverend Barbara and process through the back of the sanctuary for our Memorial Garden remembrance afterwards.